Dr. Nara stood at the window of her small ship as it dropped through the cloudy sky of planet Terrafar. Her blue skin looked pale in the ship's dim light. Her four-fingered hands shook slightly as she touched the glass. "Final approach to Outpost 7, said the ship's computer. "Prepare for landing." Nara's heart felt heavy. Just 1 week ago, she had been a respected doctor on her home planet. Now she was no one. An outcast. A failure in the eyes of her people, the Vorik. "You care too much about your test subjects," her boss had told her. "Medicine is about results, not feelings." Nara had broken the biggest rule among Vorik doctors. She had stopped an experiment that was hurting the test subjects. The other doctors didn't care about the pain. They only cared about the data. But Nara couldn't ignore the suffering. So they sent her away. Far away. The ship landed with a soft thud on the muddy ground. Outside, rain poured down in sheets. This would be her home now. This wet, forgotten corner of space where no important Vorik would ever visit. Nara gathered her few belongings and stood at the ship's door. She had never worked with humans before, only read about them. Humans were new to space travel, having joined the Galactic Confederation only 30 years ago. They were seen as primitive by many alien species. The door opened. Cold, wet air rushed in. Nara stepped out onto the ramp and saw her new workplace for the first time. The clinic was small and old. Its walls were made of metal that had turned rusty in the constant rain. A flickering sign read "Medical Facility" in 3 languages. The sign buzzed and went dark as Nara watched. A figure hurried toward her through the rain, holding something over its head for cover. "You must be the new doctor," said the figure, which Nara now saw was a human man. He was shorter than Nara, with dark hair and eyes that looked tired. "I'm Ta, the clinic assistant. We didn't expect you until tomorrow." The transport was faster than expected, Nara said. Her translator device changed her Vorik speech into human words. Ta looked at her with clear discomfort. Nara was used to this. Voriks looked strange to humans with their blue skin, large eyes, and the small breathing gills on their necks. "I'll show you the clinic," Ta said, not making eye contact. The inside of the building was as bad as the outside. Medical equipment sat broken in corners. Dust covered many surfaces. The treatment beds had tears in their covers. "We haven't had a real doctor in almost a year," Tai explained. "Just medical drones for basic problems." "This is not what I'm used to," Nara said. On her homeworld, her lab had been clean, modern, and well supplied. "The humans don't come here much," Ta said. "They go to the human doctor in the main settlement. You'll mostly get the miners from the eastern hills and the farmers from the south. Some traders too." Nara nodded. Of course, humans wouldn't trust a Vorik doctor. Ta showed her to a small room behind the clinic. "Your living quarters," he said. "Sorry it's not more comfortable." The room had a bed, a desk, and a small cooking area. A single window looked out at the endless rain. "It will be fine," Nara said, though she wasn't sure if that was true. After Tai left, Nara sat on the bed and looked at her new home. She had been sent here as punishment, to be forgotten. She opened her medical bag and took out her personal scanner. At least she still had her skills. She still had her knowledge. Maybe that would be enough. Outside, thunder rumbled across the dark sky. Nara wondered how long she would have to stay on this wet, lonely planet before she could go home. She didn't know it yet, but home would soon have a very different meaning. 3 months had passed since Nara's arrival on Terrafar. The constant rain had become a familiar sound as she worked in her small clinic. Most days were the same. She would treat the miners for their coughs, the farmers for their cuts, and the traders for strange rashes. Few humans came to see her. Tonight, the rain fell harder than usual. Lightning flashed across the sky, lighting up Nara's small room where she sat reading old medical files. Thunder shook the walls of the clinic. "Worst storm this season," Ta had said before leaving for the day. "I'd stay inside if I were you." Nara wasn't planning to go anywhere. She sipped a warm drink and tried to ignore the howling wind outside. Then she heard it, a sound that didn't fit with the storm, a high-pitched cry, like nothing she had heard on this planet before. At first, Nara thought it was just the wind, but then it came again. It sounded like pain. Nara put down her drink and moved to the window. The rain was coming down in sheets, making it hard to see anything. Lightning flashed, and for a second, Nara thought she saw movement near the trash bins behind her clinic. The cry came again, weaker this time. Something was heard out there. Nara grabbed her medical scanner and a light. She put on her raincoat and opened the back door of the clinic. The wind nearly knocked her over as she stepped outside. "Hello," she called out, but her voice was lost in the storm. Nara moved toward the trash bins, her light showing only rain and mud. Then she heard it again, the cry, very close now. She pointed her light behind the largest bin and froze. There, curled up against the wall, was a small human child. A boy, Nara thought, though she was still learning to tell human genders apart. He couldn't be more than 5 years old. His clothes were torn and dirty. But worse, much worse, was the blood. The child was hurt badly. Cuts and burns covered his small arms and legs. One of his eyes was swollen shut, and there was a deep gash across his chest that was still bleeding. "By the stars," Nara whispered. How was the child still alive with injuries like these? When the boy saw Nara, his one good eye went wide with fear. He tried to push himself further against the wall, away from her. "No hurt," the boy said in a weak voice. "No more hurt." "I won't hurt you," Nara said softly, kneeling down in the mud. "I'm a doctor. I help." The boy didn't seem to understand, or maybe he didn't believe her. He looked at Nara's blue skin and large eyes with terror. "Monster," he whispered. The word hurt Nara more than she expected, but she understood. To a human child, she must look like a nightmare. "Not monster," she said. "Doctor." She held up her scanner slowly. "This tells me where you hurt. Can I check?" The boy watched her, still afraid but too weak to run. Nara moved the scanner over him carefully, not touching him yet. The readings made her breath catch. Internal bleeding, broken ribs, signs of older injuries too. This child had been hurt many times. Another flash of lightning lit up the sky, and the boy flinched at the noise. In that moment, Nara saw something on the boy's arm, a marking that looked like letters and numbers. H12UN. "Who did this to you?" Nara asked gently. The boy's eye began to close. He was losing consciousness. "Need to get you inside," Nara said, more to herself than to the boy. "Need to treat you now." As carefully as she could, Nara picked up the small human. He felt so light in her arms, like he hadn't eaten in days. He didn't fight her. He didn't have the strength. "It's okay," Nara said as she carried him through the rain toward the clinic door. "You're safe now." But as she looked down at the broken child in her arms, Nara wondered if that was true. Who had hurt this boy? And why? And would they come looking for him? The storm raged on as Nara carried the child inside, not knowing that she had just changed both their lives forever. Nara worked through the night. The boy's injuries were worse than she first thought. 3 broken ribs, a punctured lung, cuts that looked like they were made by sharp tools, not by accident. As she cleaned and treated each wound, Nara felt anger grow inside her. Who would do this to a child? The boy remained unconscious as Nara gave him medicine for pain and to fight infection. She hooked him up to her only working monitor to watch his heart and breathing. "Who are you?" she whispered, looking at the strange marking on his arm. H12UN. It looked like a code, not a name. Something else was strange too. When Nara used her healing light on the boy's worst cuts, they began to heal much faster than normal. Human wounds didn't usually respond so quickly to this treatment. Dawn came, and with it Ta. He stopped in the doorway of the treatment room, his eyes wide with shock. "Is that a human child?" he asked. "I found him behind the clinic last night," Nera said. He's badly hurt. Ta came closer and looked at the boy. I don't recognize him. He's not from the settlement. Could he be from another human colony? The nearest one is 100 miles away, Ta said, shaking his head. And no ships have landed in the past week except supply drones. Then where did he come from? Nora asked. Ta pointed to the marking on the boy's arm. That's not a normal human name tag. Before they could talk more, the boy's eyes fluttered open. His body went stiff with fear when he saw Nora. He tried to move away but cried out in pain. It's okay, Nora said softly. You're safe. I'm a doctor. The boy stared at her with wide eyes. Blue, he said in a small voice. You're blue. Yes, Nora said. I'm Vorik. My name is Nera. The boy looked around the room, his eyes stopping on every door and window as if planning an escape. Can you tell us your name? Tai asked, keeping his distance so the boy wouldn't feel crowded. The boy looked at Ta with surprise, as if just noticing another human was there. Hyun, he said after a long pause. They call me Hyun. Nera glanced at the marking. H12UN. Hyun, she repeated. That's a good name. Where am I? Hyun asked, his voice shaking. You're in my clinic on Terrafar, Nora said. I'm a doctor. I'm helping you get better. Hyun's face showed confusion. Terra-Far. It's a planet, Tai explained. At the edge of human space. Hyun shook his head slowly. Not supposed to be here, he whispered. Not supposed to leave. Leave where? Nara asked gently. Hyun's eyes filled with tears. The bad place, where they make new people. Nara and Ta shared a concerned look. Who hurt you, Hyun? Nara asked. Hyun closed his eyes. The white coats, they test us. They fix us when we break. They make us better. His small hands clutched the edge of his blanket. But it hurts. A cold feeling spread through Nara's body. She knew what this sounded like. A research facility. Experiments. On children. Hyun, she said carefully, can you tell us more about this place? About the other children? Hyun opened his eyes again, looking at Nara with a gaze that seemed too old for such a young face. We're special, he said. Not like other humans. We can live where they can't. We can breathe bad air. We can heal fast. He touched one of his bandaged arms. See, already better. Nara checked under the bandage. The wound that should have taken days to start healing was already closing. It was impossible, unless the boy's genetics had been altered. Ta, Nara said quietly. I need to run some tests. Ta nodded, his face grim. I'll check if any research ships have been in this sector. As Tai left the room, Hyun reached out and touched Nara's hand. His small fingers felt warm against her cool skin. You're not scary, he said. Not like the white coats. Nara felt something shift inside her chest, a feeling she hadn't felt in a long time. I won't let anyone hurt you again, she promised. And she meant it. 2 days passed. Hyun grew stronger. His wounds healed faster than any human Nara had ever treated. He still got scared when there were loud noises, but he no longer flinched when Nara came near him. Ta brought clean clothes for the boy and some toys he had found. Hyun stared at the toys like he had never seen such things before. No toys at the bad place, Hyun explained when Nara asked. Only tests. Nara was checking Hyun's healing ribs when the clinic door opened with a loud bang. Hyun jumped, his eyes wide with fear. It's okay, Nara said softly. I'm here. Heavy footsteps moved through the clinic. Then a tall human man appeared in the doorway. He wore a dark uniform with a security badge. His face was stern. I'm Daho, head of settlement security, the man said. I hear you're keeping a human child here. Nara stood up straight. This is my patient. His name is Hyun. Daho looked at the boy. His eyes narrowed when he saw the marking on Hyun's arm. Where did you find him? Behind my clinic during the storm, Nara said. He was badly hurt. And you didn't report it. Daho's voice was hard. I was busy saving his life, Nera said. She tried to keep her voice calm. And I don't answer to settlement security. Daho stepped closer. You do when it involves humans. Hyun made a small noise and pressed himself against Nera's side. Without thinking, Nera put her hand on his shoulder, protecting him. He's not from your settlement, Nera said. He's from some kind of research facility. They were hurting him. Something changed in Daho's face, not softer, but less certain. What facility? There's nothing like that on Terrafar. I don't know yet, but look at his arm. Look at how fast he heals. Someone has changed him. Daho started to answer, but a new sound cut him off. The whine of a ship landing nearby. Tay rushed into the room. Confederation ship, he said, out of breath. Officials from the Science Ministry. Nera felt cold all over. The Science Ministry oversaw all research in Confederation space. If they were here. Hide him, Daho said suddenly. Nera looked at him in surprise. Now, Daho said, I don't like this. Hide the boy. But it was too late. 3 figures entered the clinic. 2 were security guards with weapons. The third was a thin Voric male in white clothes. He looked at Nera with cold eyes. Dr. Nera, he said. I am Dr. Min-Soo from the Confederation Science Ministry. Nera didn't bow her head as Voric custom demanded. Why are you here? Min-Soo's mouth tightened at her rudeness. We've come to collect research property that was lost in this area. Research property, Nera repeated. Min-Soo's eyes moved to Hyun, who was trying to hide behind Nera. Specimen H12. It escaped from a secure facility during transport. He, Nera said. Nodded. His name is Hyun. And he's a child, not a specimen. Min-Soo looked annoyed. This is why you were sent away, Dr. Nera. Your emotional attachment to test subjects. The specimen is part of vital research for human adaptation to hostile environments. You were experimenting on children, Nera said, her voice rising. You hurt him. The research is classified, Min-Soo said, and approved at the highest levels. He nodded to the guards. Take the specimen. The guards moved forward. Hyun cried out in fear. Without thinking, Nera stepped in front of him. No. The room went quiet. What did you say? Min-Soo asked. I said no, Nera repeated. Her heart was beating fast, but her voice was steady. Hyun is my patient. The medical code of the Confederation says that a doctor's first duty is to protect their patient from harm. I believe returning Hyun to you would cause him harm. Min-Soo's face showed real shock. You dare to refuse a ministry order. You'll lose your medical license. You'll be arrested. Daho stepped forward, standing beside Nera. This clinic is on settlement land, he said. Ministry officials need settlement approval for any removal of persons. Min-Soo looked from Nera to Daho. This isn't over, he said. The specimen is valuable ministry property. We will return with proper authorization. He turned and left, the guards following him. When they were gone, Nera realized she was shaking. Thank you, she said to Daho. Don't thank me yet, he replied. They'll be back. And next time, they'll bring more guards. Hyun tugged on Nera's coat. Don't let them take me, he whispered. Nera knelt down to look him in the eyes. I won't, she promised. But we need to leave this place. Night fell on Terrafar. The rain had stopped for once, and stars shone in the dark sky. We have maybe 6 hours, Daho said as he loaded supplies into a small ground vehicle. The ministry will send a message to the capital. They'll get their papers and come back. Nera carefully placed her medical bag in the vehicle. She had packed only what she needed to care for Hyun and some basic supplies. Her life as a respected doctor seemed very far away now. Where will you go? Tai asked. He had brought food and water for their journey. The less you know, the better, Daho said. The ministry might question you. Ta nodded. He looked sad, but not surprised. Be safe, he said to Nera. Then he knelt down next to Hyun, who was wearing a warm coat that was too big for him. You too, little one. Hyun looked at Ta with serious eyes. Thank you for the toys, he said softly. Ta smiled and touched Hyun's hair gently. You're welcome. They left when the larger of Terafar's 2 moons was high in the sky. Daho drove the vehicle away from the settlement, taking a little used path that headed into the hills. There are tribes in the eastern valleys, he explained. The Seren people. They don't like the Confederation much. They might help you. Why are you helping us? Nara asked. You could lose your job. Daho was quiet for a moment. Then he said, I have a son. He's older than Hyun. But when I saw that mark on the boy's arm, when I heard how the ministry man called him specimen, he shook his head. No child deserves that. Hyun sat between them, wrapped in a blanket. He watched the stars through the vehicle's window. So many lights, he whispered. Those are stars, Nara told him. They're like the sun, but very far away. I read about stars, Hyun said, but I never saw them before. At the bad place, we couldn't go outside. Nara felt that strange feeling in her chest again, like something was breaking and healing at the same time. They traveled all night. When the first light of dawn appeared, they stopped to rest in a small cave. Daho checked the vehicle's scanner for any signs they were being followed. Nothing yet, he said, but they'll be looking by now. While Hyun slept, Nara took samples of his blood. She used her medical scanner to study them. What are you doing? Daho asked. Trying to understand what they did to him, Nara said. His DNA has been changed. They added genes that aren't human. Is that why he heals so fast? Nara nodded. And look at this. She showed Daho the scanner. His lungs have extra tissue that can filter toxic air. His blood can carry more oxygen than normal. His skin is different too. It can block harmful radiation. They made him to survive on dangerous planets, Daho said. Yes, planets that would kill normal humans. They wanted colonists who could live anywhere, without expensive equipment. Daho looked over at the sleeping child. How many more like him are there? I don't know, but in the marking on his arm, the H12 part, that might mean he's the 12th in the H series. They were quiet for a moment, thinking about what that meant. Hyun made a small noise in his sleep. His face looked troubled, like he was having a bad dream. Without thinking, Nara moved to sit beside him. She hesitated, then gently touched his head. It's okay, she said softly. You're safe. Hyun's eyes opened slightly. He looked up at Nara with a sleepy gaze. Yama, he said. Nara didn't know the word. What does that mean? It means mother in the old human language from Korea, Daho explained. Some colonists still use those words. Nara felt strange. Orcs didn't have mothers or fathers like humans did. They didn't form families. Children were raised in education centers. But something about the way Hyun looked at her made Nara feel needed, important, like she mattered to someone for the first time in her life. Yes, she said, surprising herself. I'm here, Hyun. I'm here. Hyun smiled and closed his eyes, falling back to sleep. His small hand held onto Nara's blue finger. And in that moment, Nara knew she would do anything to keep him safe. After 3 days of hard travel, they reached the mountains. The air was colder here. Hyun pressed close to Nara for warmth. Not much farther, Daho said. He pointed to a narrow path between 2 tall rocks. The valley is just beyond that pass. The path was too narrow for their vehicle. They would have to walk. Daho took the heaviest bags. Nara carried Hyun, who wrapped his arms around her neck. I can walk, Hyun said, but Nara could feel how tired he was. Save your strength, she told him. You can walk later. The path wound between high rocks. Sometimes it was so narrow they had to turn sideways to pass. Then, just when Nara thought they would never reach the end, the path opened up. Before them lay a green valley. Trees with silver leaves grew in neat rows. Small houses dotted the landscape. In the center was a large building made of wood and stone. The Seren Sanctuary, Daho said. Many people who want to escape the Confederation come here. As they walked down into the valley, Nera saw that the people here were not all human. There were Vorks like her, and other alien species too, all living together. A woman stepped out from the large building. She was human, older, with gray in her dark hair. Her eyes were sharp and missed nothing. "Daho," she said, "it has been a long time." "Jai-yun," Daho nodded. "We need help." Jai-yun looked at Nera, then at Hyun in her arms. Her eyes widened when she saw the marking on Hyun's arm. "Come inside," she said quickly. Quickly. Inside the big building, it was warm and smelled of cooking food. Jai-yun led them to a private room with comfortable chairs. "You found one of them," Jai-yun said after they sat down. "One of the modified children." Nera was surprised. "You know about them?" Jai-yun nodded. Her face was sad. "I was once a scientist for the Confederation. 20 years ago, I worked on the first human modification projects. But when I saw what they planned to do with my research, I left." "What did they plan?" Daho asked. "To create humans who could live anywhere, on any planet, no matter how dangerous. Perfect colonists who wouldn't need special gear or buildings. They could just survive." "Like Hyun," Nera said. "Yes." Jai-yun looked at the boy, who was eating soup that someone had brought. "He is one of the newer ones, more advanced than what we were making." "We?" Nera asked. Jai-yun's face grew dark. "I left, but others stayed. And new scientists joined. The project never stopped." "How many children are there?" Daho asked. "I don't know anymore. But this sanctuary." Jai-yun gestured around her. "We have 12 others like him here, children who escaped or were rescued." Nera felt hope for the first time in days. "Can I meet them?" Jai-yun nodded. "After you rest, they will be excited to meet another of their kind." Later, Jai-yun took them to a garden where children were playing. They looked normal at first glance, but Nera's trained eye could see the differences. The way they moved, the color of their skin, the strange brightness in their eyes. When the children saw Hyun, they grew quiet. Then one boy stepped forward. He was older than Hyun, maybe 10 years old. "You're H12, the boy said. "I'm H7, June." Hyun looked confused. Then understanding came to his face. "You're like me." Jun nodded. "We all are. We all came from the bad place." The other children gathered around Hyun. They touched his arm where the mark was. They asked him questions. Hyun seemed overwhelmed at first, but then he began to smile. "They won't hurt you here," Jun told him. "No more tests. No more pain." Nera felt tears in her eyes as she watched. She had never cried before. Vorks rarely showed such emotion, but something about seeing Hyun with others like him, seeing him smile, broke something open inside her. Jai-yun stood beside her. "He will be safe here," she said. "You too, if you wish to stay." Nera wiped her eyes. "The ministry will keep looking for him. For all of these children." "Yes," Jai-yun agreed. "But we have hidden here for many years. I can't just hide." Nera said. "What about the other children still in that facility, still being hurt?" Jai-yun's eyes showed surprise, then respect. "What would you do about it?" Nera looked at Hyun, playing with the other children. For the first time, he looked like what he was supposed to be, a child, not a specimen. "Whatever I have to," Nera said. A week passed in the sanctuary. Hyun grew stronger each day. He played with the other children and ate well. At night, he would only sleep if Nera was nearby. Nera spent her days helping in the sanctuary's small medical center. Many of the modified children had health problems. Their changed bodies sometimes worked in strange ways. Nara's medical knowledge was valuable here. One morning, a lookout ran into the main building. "Ships," he called. 3 Confederation ships flying over the West Hills. Everyone grew quiet. Then Jai-Yun started giving orders. "Hide the children. Turn off all power. Everyone to the underground rooms." Nara found Hyun playing with Jun. "Come," she said, taking his hand. "We need to go inside." Hyun's face showed fear. "Are the Whitecoats coming?" "We won't let them find you," Nara promised. In Jae-Yun's office, Dae-ho was checking a screen that showed the valley and the hills around it. "They're using bioscanners," he said, "looking for DNA matches to the modified children." "Will they find us?" Nara asked. Jae-Yun looked worried. "The underground rooms have special walls that block scans. But if they land and search on foot—" "They're getting closer," Dae-ho said. "And look." He pointed to the screen. "That's Dr. Min-Soo's ship in front." Nara felt cold inside. Min-Soo was the Voric scientist who had come to her clinic to take Hyun. Now he had brought more ships and was searching the hills. How did they know to look here? Jae-Yun wondered. "They didn't," said a new voice. A tall human with a scanner stood in the doorway. "They're searching everywhere within 200 miles of the outpost, and they have a new tracking device that can find modified DNA from farther away." "Juan," Jae-Yun said. "What else do you know?" Juan entered the room and put his scanner on the table. "They have orders to find all escaped specimens and the people helping them. They're calling Dr. Nara a kidnapper and a traitor to the Confederation." Nara wasn't surprised. Defying the Science Ministry was a serious crime. "How long do we have?" Dae-ho asked. 2 days. Maybe 3, Juan said. "Their scan pattern will reach this valley by then." Jae-Yun looked at each person in the room. "We need to decide. Do we run? Or do we fight?" "Where would we go?" Dae-ho asked. "If their scanners can find the children's DNA signatures, they'll just follow us." "We can't fight the Confederation," Juan said. "They have too many ships, too many weapons." Nara had been quiet, thinking. Now she spoke. "There's a third choice," she said. Everyone looked at her. "The Confederation is doing something illegal," Nara explained. "Experimenting on children is against the Galactic Treaty of Rights. If people knew what was happening, the Confederation would deny it," Jae-Yun said. "They would say the children are scientific creations, not real humans." "But I have proof," Nara said. She held up her medical scanner. "I've been studying Hyun and the other children. Their base DNA is fully human. The changes were made after they were born. That makes them human subjects, protected by the treaty." "How does this help us?" Dae-ho asked. "If we can send this evidence to the right people in the Confederation Council, they would have to stop the program. The council members from Earth would never allow their children to be treated this way." Jae-Yun looked thoughtful. "It's possible," she said slowly. "But how do we get the evidence to the council?" "The ministry controls all communication from Terrafar." "Not all," Dae-ho said. "There's a direct link to the council in the settlement governor's office. For emergencies, it can't be blocked by the ministry." "But you'd have to go back to the settlement," Juan said, "right where they're looking for you." "I'll go," Nara said. "It's my evidence, my report." "No," Jae-Yun said firmly. "You're too valuable here. The children need you." She looked at the screen showing the ships. "And you'd never make it past those patrols." "I'll go," Dae-ho said. Everyone stared at him. "I can get into the governor's office. She trusts me. And I know how to avoid the ministry patrols." Nara gave him her scanner. "Everything they need to know is in here," she said. "All the evidence." Dae-ho nodded and put the scanner in his pocket. "I'll leave tonight, using the old mining tunnels." As the others discussed the details of Dae-ho's journey, Nara went to check on Hyun. He was in the underground room with the other children. When he saw her, he ran to her. "Are you scared?" Nara asked him. Hyun thought about it. A little, he said. But you're here. He took her blue hand in his small one. So I'm brave. Nara felt that now familiar warmth in her chest. Yes, she said. We're brave together. 2 days passed with no word from Daho. The Confederation ships moved closer to the valley. Everyone in the sanctuary was afraid. We can't wait any longer, Jae-yun said. We need to move the children deeper into the mountains. Nara helped pack food and medicine. Hyun stayed close to her, quiet and watchful. Will we have to run forever? He asked Nara when they were alone. The question made Nara's chest hurt. I hope not, she said. Daho is trying to help us. Just then, one burst into the room. Ships, he shouted. Coming fast. Everyone hide. Nara grabbed Hyun and ran to the underground room. All the children huddled together in the dark. Nara held Hyun close, feeling his small heart beat fast against her chest. Above them, they heard the sound of ships landing. Then footsteps. Voices. They found us, Jun whispered. The door to the underground room opened. Light poured in. Nara pushed Hyun behind her, ready to protect him. But it wasn't Min-soo or his guards who stood in the doorway. It was Daho. He looked tired, his clothes dirty, but his eyes were bright. It worked, he said. The council received the evidence. They've sent a peacekeeping fleet. Relief washed over Nara, but then she heard more footsteps. They're still coming, Daho said. Min-soo's team. They don't know about the council's orders yet. Jae-yun looked worried. How long until the fleet arrives? Soon, Daho said. But maybe not soon enough. Outside, they heard the whine of more ships landing. Heavy boots on the ground. Hide the children, Jae-yun ordered. The rest of us will talk to them. Slow them down. Nara started to follow the children deeper into the underground rooms, but Hyun stopped her. Don't go, he said. They'll hurt you. Nara knelt down to look in his eyes. I have to help keep them away from you, she said. I'll be careful. Hyun looked scared, but nodded. Promise you'll come back. I promise, Nara said. She joined Jae-yun, Daho, and the others outside the main building. 5 Confederation ships had landed in the valley. Guards with weapons formed a line. And there, in the center, was Min-soo. Dr. Nara, Min-soo called. You have stolen Confederation property and broken many laws. Give us the specimens, and your punishment might be less severe. Nara stepped forward. She was afraid, but she didn't show it. The children are not property, she said loudly. They are people with rights. What you did to them was wrong. Min-soo's face showed anger. You know nothing about the importance of our work. These specimens will help humans live on 100 new worlds. By torturing children, Nara demanded. By treating them like things instead of people. They are not normal children, Min-soo said. They were made in labs, changed to be better than human. I've studied them, Nara said. They feel pain like any child. They laugh and cry like any child. They need love like any child. She pointed at Min-soo. And you hurt them. Min-soo's patience ended. Enough, he shouted. He turned to the guards. Take them all. Find the specimens. The guards raised their weapons. Nara and her friends prepared to fight, even though they knew they would lose. Then a new sound filled the air, a deep, powerful hum. Everyone looked up. A massive ship appeared above the valley. It was 3 times bigger than Min-soo's ships. On its side was the symbol of the Confederation Council. A loud voice came from the ship. This is Commander Yunji of the Confederation Peacekeeping Fleet. All Science Ministry personnel are ordered to stand down immediately. Min-soo looked shocked. What is this? He demanded. A beam of light came down from the big ship. In the light stood a tall woman in a commander's uniform. Dr. Min-soo, Commander Yunji said, by order of the Confederation Council, all human modification research is suspended pending investigation. You and your team are to return to headquarters for questioning. "This is a mistake," Min-Su said. "Our work is approved at the highest levels. The Council has seen evidence of illegal experimentation on human children," Commander Yunji said. "Evidence that you try to hide." Min-Su looked at Nara with hatred in his eyes, but there was nothing he could do. His guards lowered their weapons. As Min-Su and his team were escorted to the commander's ship, Nara felt a small hand slip into hers. Hyun had come out of hiding. "Is it over?" he asked. Nara looked down at him, at his hopeful face. "Not yet," she said honestly. "But it's a good start." 6 months had passed since the day Commander Yunji's ship appeared over the valley. 6 months of questions, meetings, and waiting. But finally, today was the day they had all been waiting for. Nara stood outside the big meeting hall in the capital city. She wore her formal Voric clothes for the first time since leaving her home world. Hyun stood beside her, holding her hand. He was bigger now, healthier. His eyes were bright with excitement. "Are you ready?" Nara asked him. Hyun nodded. "Will they really say yes?" "I think so," Nara said. "The council has been fair so far." They entered the meeting hall together. The room was large and full of important people. At the front sat the 7 members of the Confederation Council. Nara recognized Commander Yunji, who had been promoted to the council after uncovering the truth about the Science Ministry's secret program. "Dr. Nara and Hyun," a voice announced. "Please come forward." They walked to the center of the room. Nara could see Jae-yun, Da-ho, and many of the people from the sanctuary sitting in the audience. They had all come to hear the council's final decision. "Dr. Nara," Yunji said, "your actions have forced the Confederation to face difficult questions about our research programs and our treatment of different beings." Nara stood tall. She was no longer afraid to speak her mind. "The children deserved better," she said simply. Yunji nodded. "Yes, they did. And now we must decide what happens to them." One of the other council members spoke up. "After much debate, we have reached a decision. The modified human children will be recognized as a new branch of humanity, with all the rights and protections that status brings." A happy sound went through the crowd. Jae-yun was crying. Da-ho was smiling wider than Nara had ever seen. "No one will ever treat them as research subjects again," Yunji added. "They are people, not specimens." Hyun squeezed Nara's hand so hard it almost hurt, but she didn't mind. "There is another matter," Yunji continued. "Dr. Nara, the Science Ministry has asked for you to be punished for your actions. You disobeyed direct orders and interfered with official research." Nara felt cold inside. Would they send her to prison? Take her away from Hyun? However, Yunji said, "The council has decided that your actions, while against regulations, were morally correct. Your medical license is fully restored, and we offer you a position as medical director for a new settlement on Terrafar, where humans and aliens will work together." Relief washed over Nara. She wouldn't be punished. She could keep doing the work she loved. "Thank you," she said. "I accept." "There is one final matter," Yunji said. She looked at Hyun. "Young man, please step forward." Hyun looked nervous but did as he was asked. "The council has received your request," Yunji said, smiling at him. "And we have decided to approve it. The first application of the new family formation law will be yours." Yunji handed a document to Nara. It was official and had the council's seal on it. At the top were the words, "Certificate of Family Formation." "Dr. Nara," Yunji said, "do you wish to form a legal family bond with Hyun, taking responsibility for his care and well-being until he reaches adulthood?" Nara felt that warm feeling in her chest again. The feeling that had started the night she found a small, hurt human child behind her clinic. The feeling that had grown every day since. "Yes," she said. "Yes, I do." "And Hyun, do you wish to join in family with Dr. Nara?" Hyun smiled his biggest smile. "Yes," he said. "She's already my The crowd laughed warmly. Yunji smiled too. Then, by the power of the Confederation Council, you are now legally family. Hyun threw his arms around Nara. She held him close, no longer surprised by the emotions that filled her. Later that evening, Nara and Hyun stood on the balcony of their new home in the valley. The sanctuary was growing into a real settlement now. More people came every day, both humans and aliens who wanted to live together in peace. The first stars were appearing in the sky. Hyun pointed up at them. "Will we visit them someday, Yama?" he asked. Nara looked down at her son, and felt her heart so full it might burst. Once, long ago, she had thought herself an outcast, a failure, alone. Now she had found something she never knew she needed: a family, a home, a heart that could love. "Together, little one," she said, "we'll explore them together." The end.